The unsurpassed, penetrating and perfect truth is seldom met with, even in 100,000 myriad kalpas. Now we can see and hear it. We can remember and accept it. I vow to make the Buddha's truth one with myself. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha. Well, we've been talking about the 6 Paramitars lately. Generosity, precepts, patience, vigor, and today, meditation. And the last one's wisdom, which we'll do next time. As I've been saying, all the Paramitas work together. They support each other. It doesn't work well just to start a meditation practice and not support it with kindness and generosity and the precepts of ethical conduct. And we quickly find we need a lot of patience if we're going to practice meditation, and vigor to make the effort. We don't practice meditation in a vacuum. We're with other beings. And when we meditate, we find our heart opening to others. We become more kind and generous. We learn to be more patient with other people and ourselves. And we try to keep to the precepts in our dealings with others. All these come with it. Otherwise, our meditation practice is sterile. So we need all these aspects, plus a good number of others. Otherwise, we think we're doing well. We might think we're doing well, and actually we're missing the point. We don't want sterile meditation practice. We want it to be fruitful. And having said all this, meditation is the foundation of our practice. It's the first thing we learn when we come to the Abbey, how to meditate, sit in meditation. And it's a thing that we try to do all the time, not just when we're sitting. Great Master Dogen constantly emphasizes meditation in his writings. It sounds like he's talking about seated meditation, but actually he means it applies to everything we do. Whatever we're doing, wherever we are, whatever's going on with us, not just when we're sitting. And paying attention all the time is the practice of mindfulness. What we're doing right now, what's going on with us right now, whether inside or outside, what's going on in our mind, bringing the mind back when it wanders off, over and over and over and over again. And as we mostly know, it's very hard to do. It sounds simple, it's hard to do. But it's the one thing that we try to do all the time. And everything else comes from that, actually. And that affects everything else, all the other things we try to practice. Generosity helps us practice meditation. Meditation helps us practice generosity. And all the others, vigor, patience, precepts, they all work together. Paying attention to what's going on around us, all the circumstances of our lives. Paying attention to what's going on inside us when we're getting upset. To notice, that helps. And to do our best, just to be still. Simply to take a breath before we say something or do something that might be unwise or unkind. We say this all the time, just take a breath. Take a breath. One breath will do it. It'll help. Just one little thing. Taking a breath can be enormously helpful when we're getting upset. Well, as we all know, there's enormous turmoil in our world at present. We need meditation like never before. Or actually, maybe it's always been this way. It's very easy to get upset, angry, afraid, worried. We have all these feelings arise. All of us have these feelings come up. Plus all the usual difficulties and worries and sadnesses of our own personal lives. It's all there together. The practice of meditation gives us space to absorb all these things, so we're not overwhelmed by them. That space, just to take a breath, be still, whether for a moment, for half an hour of sitting, however it may be. Space to absorb things, to be still with them, to accept them, and to see what we need to do. Immensely helpful. Formal meditation every day, even just for a few minutes. I'm preaching to the converted here. It's so helpful. We know it's life-changing. And especially now in our present world, there's this huge need for stillness, kindness, acceptance, courage, not just reacting and getting upset. And all these things flow from meditation, both formal meditation and informal, just trying to be still in all the aspects of our lives. Stillness, kindness, acceptance, and courage, and everything, all the other things. But those come to mind immediately. Our meditation helps everybody, ourselves, the people we come in contact with, and all the beings we have no contact with at all, it would seem. For one thing, we're not adding to that huge bonfire of fear and anger and upset. Our effort to be still is like cooling water. It helps us to find compassion and wisdom rather than heaping on more judgment and anger and fear onto everything. Stillness, coolness of meditation rather than just getting upset. Achalanatha, sitting amid the flames of desire, anger, ignorance, fear, delusion. He just sits still and lets them burn. We say this all the time. I like Achalanatha, just sitting still. He doesn't throw more wood onto the flames and get all upset and nourish his resentment or his fear or his worry or his anger. He just sits still. And he doesn't try and stamp out the flames by pretending it's not happening and everything's fine. Just lets it burn. Lets it all burn. And he sits still right in the midst of it. And this is what we try to do. Not to feed our fear and anger by obsessing about everything. And not trying to pretend everything is okay and we don't have to concern ourselves, just push it away. To sit still right in the middle of it. In the middle of all that fear, worry, anger, despair, hopelessness, all the stuff that comes up. Grief, So many people are dying. And it's just, we cannot fathom the enormity of all that's happening in our world. But we can sit still. And the sitting still doesn't mean we cut ourselves off from all that's going on or that we don't care. We can foster a still and compassionate heart. And this helps everyone and everything, as well as ourselves. Sitting still fosters a still and compassionate heart, not just getting angry, upset, worried. These may go through, but we don't have to feed them. Just sit within that heart of compassion. With faith. Faith comes from the practice of meditation. And it's faith that gets us to start. It both works together. We wouldn't start to meditate if wasn't something in us that said, maybe there's something better than this. Maybe there's a better way to live. Maybe I need to do something different. Maybe I need to learn to sit still. Faith in that which is always there, that which does not move. That which is the source of compassion. We may not feel we know this source of compassion for ourselves yet. But as I said, our very practice of meditation is the practice of faith, that we actually do it. That there is something beyond our immediate experience, a better way to live. Faith that there's something better. With faith that there's something I can do about myself. And it's the faith that gets us to begin to meditate, and it's the meditation that nourishes our faith. They work together. Something that does not move. There's something within us that does not move. When we sit still and entrust ourselves to it, it's always there. And we can find it. Sometimes it's right there when you most need it, when there's tragedy or sorrow. Like the woman I've mentioned before, whose grown-up son was killed by a falling tree right in front of her, right there, out of the blue. And right there she knew that everything was fine, it was perfectly okay. How would she know that? How would she find that? It just came to her right there. There it was. Everything is all right. It's all right. Even though I'm sure she had great sadness and grief, she knew right at that moment, it's all right. Everything is all right. No matter what happens, or how dark things may appear to be, the Rev. Master Ji would often say, and actually as Great Master Dogen says in the scripture we read today, the Shushogi, without fail, evil is vanquished and good prevails. Without fail, sanity returns to us. Things get better. It can take time, but things do change. Things do change for the better. She used to say that sometimes the sanity level in the world goes way down, what seems at a pretty low ebb at the moment. We hope it will come back up soon a bit. Anyway, we don't know, but we can do our best. We can do our part. We can practice stillness, faith, allowing that compassion and courage and acceptance to emerge, kindness for ourselves and for other beings. We can offer the merits of our meditation and our faith to all beings. No matter how imperfect our effort may seem to be, it does make a difference. We can think, and some people say, well, offering the merit of my meditation, that seems a bit, cocky. My merit isn't worth much. Meditation isn't worth much. It's terrible. How would anybody derive benefit from that? They do. We do. It does make a difference. Just to have faith in that, in our own effort, our own aspiration for stillness, even when it seems we're doing it dreadfully. Our aspiration not to add to all that turmoil and hatred and fear and all that, but our aspiration to sit still and offer merit, offer compassion, to relinquish judgment and try to understand, to understand when we see people doing things that we think are very harmful. How can I understand where they're coming from? How can I make a difference? First of all, to sit still, and then if we need to take action, we can do it more wisely than if we just rush off and do something. Great Master Dogen in the Bendawa, he talks at great length and in beautiful words about the great blessings of meditation. I won't read it all, but it's wonderful. The blessings of meditation and how it helps everybody. Well, now, he wasn't writing in some ideal world that isn't here. He lived in a time of civil strife, turmoil, poverty, sickness. I'm sure they had, in a way, just the same as what we have. But it seemed like it was a smaller world then for him, because they didn't know what was going on in Africa and all that. Nowadays, it seems so huge because we all are connected and we see what's going on in other places. And of course, this pandemic affects the whole world. 500,000 people have died. Huge numbers of people have got sick. Doesn't seem to be getting much better. Anywhere, actually. Maybe a few places it's getting better. Most places, it's got better for a while and now it's going back up because people started going back to their regular lives. And who knows how it's all going to turn out? We just don't know. We don't know how it will be. Will things ever be the same as they were before? I don't know how. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but we can sit still in faith in the midst of all that. So, I'm going to read a little bit of this Bendawa because it's so helpful. He says, all the Buddhas, as well as all the ancestors, have kept to the Buddha Dharma as their dwelling place. One and all have not only sat upright in meditation and their delight in the truth, but they've also put the precepts into practice. Meditation and precepts. And then he goes on. Even though merely for a moment, when someone while sitting upright in samadhi puts the mark of the Buddha seal upon his 3 types of actions, i.e., has an understanding of the truth, the whole physical universe and everything in it becomes and is the Buddha seal. That little seeing of the truth helps everybody, all beings. Everything is affected throughout the whole universe. It's big, you know. All of space throughout becomes and is enlightenment. And then he goes on at considerable length about this, you know. All things realize what confirmation of the truth really is. Everything altogether employs its body as a Buddha does. And then he goes, some later, at this very moment, the lands of the earth with their trees and grasses, as well as the walls and fences with their tiles and stones, are all seen to be performing the work of Buddhas. That means just our daily life, the stuff around us, all the things that we deal with, cars, roads, people, animals, you know. They all seem to be performing the work of Buddhas. As a consequence, all who make profitable spiritual use of whatever storms and floods may arise, we've been having storms and floods like you wouldn't believe lately. Whatever storms and floods may arise, whoever makes use of these, profitable spiritual use of these, will be receiving guidance and assistance in unseen ways from the profound and inscrutable instructions of Buddhas, and will give expression to their innate understanding, which is ever intimate with the truth. So if we can make profitable spiritual use of all the things that beset us, use them to help us in our training, to help us to develop compassion and help other beings, it helps everybody. It helps us too. And if we can do this, other people who reside with such persons, they also provide each other with the unbounded, endless virtues of Buddhas, and cause the unceasing, wondrous, immeasurable Dharma of Buddhas to roll forth far and wide, until it spreads throughout the whole universe, both within and without. Wonderful. And he says, even the meditating of just one person at one time, doesn't have to be perfect, just the meditation of one person at one time, harmonizes with and is at one with all forms of being as it tranquilly permeates all times. Just one person meditating just for a moment helps everything. So don't give up. Thus, within the inexhaustible phenomenal world, i.e. our present world, across past, present, and future, the meditator does the unending work of instructing and guiding others in the way of Buddhas. Not trying to instruct and guide others, but just by doing our practice. It helps everybody. It helps everyone to sit still when we try to sit still. It is the same practice, in no way different for all, just as it is the same realization and personal certifying by all. Same practice, same meditation, same stillness for all of us. Nobody's special. Nobody standing out as some great saint. Just doing our simple, humble, daily meditation practice. Even just for a few minutes, that simple attempt to sit still and meditate, or in our daily life to take that breath before we do something, helps everything, everybody. Everyone has his own original face, his own Buddha nature, his or her own Buddha nature, as well as their own training and practice to do, all of which are beyond the fathoming of our speculations. You must realize that even if all the Buddhas were all together to exercise their spiritual strengths and attempt to measure the meditation of a single person by means of their awakened Buddha wisdom, they will be unable to reach its boundaries, try as they might to fathom them. Even all the Buddhas, with all their wisdom, couldn't fathom how much the effort of one single person's meditation spread so far and wide. They couldn't measure it. And he says to the end, you've now heard just how great and vast the virtues and spiritual merits of this seated meditation are. So let's do it. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.